All right, there we are.
All
So,
right.
welcome aboard, everybody. This is Fly in Formation. Every week, I talk to a different artist from across Canada. People who I think deserve more shine, and just try to kind of spread the spotlight because I feel like the scenes are also, everybody has fans in their own community and in their own cities. And a lot of the people who like hip hop just don't tend to know how many dope artists there are all across the country. So I've just been reaching out to people, seeing who will talk with me, and kind of picking people's brains on the artistic process, and just, of course, talking about projects that you've been putting out and stuff like that. But welcome aboard, everybody. This is Asun Eastwood.
Peace, Toba.
Hey, man. Yeah. So, dude, you've been on a real run lately. It's, you got like how many albums in the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years? It's been a ton. I feel like.
Yeah, at least probably like more than 10, that's for sure.
Yeah, right. Like I can't even keep up. I took a look on
Mhm.
Spotify, and I think so. Your last full release was in September last year, right?
Yeah, I had an EP last year was pretty much my main one that I did last year in 2023, but 2022 probably would be my last full release.
Okay, yeah.
I
Well,
mean, yeah, I mean, it depends what you classify that. Like, I have a lot of, it's a lot of work, man. I got
you've been doing
people,
collabo projects,
yeah, a
right?
lot of
Yeah.
projects, right?
Yeah, so September you dropped that "Don't Reach" project with Vinyl Villain on the beats, and then Lex Talionis rapping with
Right.
you, right? Yeah,
Right.
man.
That was actually, I think we put it on streaming in September,
Okay.
but we released that album like a year before that.
Man, that's smart. The whole
Yeah.
drop it on
Yeah.
vinyl, sell it exclusively a little
Right.
bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. We sold the distribution to the good people at who released it this is bad. This is bad, but we
Shouts
sold
to
it to,
whoever it was, man.
yeah, to the Belgium company. My man Vinyl Villain friggin' linked it up, and yeah, so we just had gave them the rights, and then after a year we said, all right, let's put it on the streamer.
Nice. So is Vinyl Villain like over in Belgium himself, or
No, he's from Massachusetts.
okay, so
Yeah.
nobody involved was European, but you put it out on a European label? How,
Yeah,
what's the
this
thinking
is how
behind
the
that?
connects work. A lot of those record companies that do the vinyl, they're from Europe, like most of them, and they get it at the lower cost. And what it saves is, to be honest, a lot of our people that actually spend money with us are
Mhm.
European. So it helps everybody because now the Europeans can get it at a low cost without the crazy shipping. And we could we could say, hey, all right, we take this money and at least we're out of it. It might not make as much money, but it spreads the awareness better.
No, that makes sense. And I think, I've noticed just from what I can observe in the industry is like, it seems like, people who make boom bap music and kind of make gritty, street level hip hop do real well over in Europe. I feel like
Absolutely.
the Europeans are still
The
very much
culture.
into that. And I mean,
It's,
it's definitely making a resurgence over here too lately.
right,
But
right. You know what? Purist, it's ironic because you're from Edmonton, right?
originally from Edmonton, now I'm in southern Alberta and Lethbridge. Yeah.
Okay. So you're Southern Alberta. So if you're a purist, it's like you find your community. And I find that it's easier to find the purists from the outsides because they're not so much easily influenced by the commercial. And if you think about the big cities, that's where all the commercials go to. So it
Definitely.
tends to have, not to say that the listening support isn't in those commercial cities. Like we have, a lot of my listeners are in California and New York City and all those places, but the buyers, the supporters are
Yeah,
outskirts.
and that's who matters, right? At
Hmm.
least matters the most. Of course, all the
Absolutely.
listeners matter too. Shouts to them. But
Absolutely.
dude, I feel like especially in Toronto, there's like a real emphasis on kind of the mainstream sound. I mean, I don't want to blame Drake for it, but
Right.
like a lot of the artists that are popping off in Toronto seem to be kind of trying to get into that same lane and making, very accessible,
Right.
music that could blow up like that.
Right.
But it made me wonder, though. I also feel like a lot of the artists in each of these little pockets don't really know artists from across the country. Are you familiar at all with the Canadian hip hop scene? Do you pay any attention to
Um,
Vancouver, Montreal, Halifax?
uh,
I mean
I,
Edmonton.
I, I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie to you. Like I could hear some of the names and be like, oh, that name sounds familiar. But listening, I don't. And just for the fact of like, I barely listen to Toronto, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. And being a creator in this space, being inspired is one thing, being influenced is another. A lot of time, early when I wasn't so involved with making music, this is what I tell some of my friends, I envy you, because the way you listen to music is how I used to listen to music. Now I listen to music with like a whole different ear of like, not judgment, but like, oh, or I heard something like, oh, I know what they did in the studio for that, or I could hear a punch in, or I could hear
Yeah. The more you know about any craft, the more you see other people doing it, right?
Or it would be so dope. I'm like, yo, I have to turn this off, because now I'm starting to think about what I would have said over there. And then, and that's what happens. And it takes the joy kind of out. That's why I tend to listen to R&B and just alternative music or jazz,
I think that's common with a lot of artists who are, high output, who are constantly creating, right?
Right.
But yeah, man, I think it is, important to link up with other artists, at least in your scene. And that's something that I see you doing a lot. Like,
Absolutely.
dudes like Daniel Sun and Lord Juco, Raz Fresco, you've done a lot of work with all those guys. And I feel like you kind of all are occupying the same lane where, like I said, it's becoming more and more commercially viable, and you've got guys like Griselda kind of carrying that torch.
Right.
But I kind of wanted to ask, like, well, and even as far as production, right? Like, you link up with various producers and do kind of an entire album with one guy, and then switch to another producer for the next album. It seems like is the trend.
Right.
Do you have like a specific crew of guys who you're normally making music with, or is it as independent as it gets? Just you are the team.
Yeah, I'm not limited to someone, but I do have a familiar crew that I just love working with because it's so easy. Like Gold Era we're spoiled. That's a home team. Like, it's supremely spoiled because Slang, Sibs, and Finn, they're nasty. They're above average. So when I look back, I kind of at the start, I didn't really know what I had, but when I look back, I'm like, wow. And seeing their progression, I have at least an album's worth of music with Slang. I probably have 2 albums worth of music with Finn. I probably have like 3 albums worth of music with Sibs that no one's heard.
Right.
And just tons and tons. Like, I guess, not to say everything will be released, but at least 70% of that is releasable and nasty. It's just they help my pen. That's my workout team. That's
still in the vault right now. Then you've got a bunch of music. Yeah.
If it's sick. I was just at the studio yesterday, and Merciless, that's also home team. Supreme Jeans, that's the Supreme Jeans home team. He records. I record there. That's where I record. That's my second home.
Nice.
He has almost damn near a whole other hard drive just for me. Like, he's like, this is ridiculous. Like, how much music you create, it's ridiculous. And sometimes we'll put something on and I'll be like, yo, what's that? Like, he'll click the wrong thing. We're like, what's that? Like, yo, this is crazy. And we'll sit there and be like, oh shit.
Maybe we gotta finish that.
I should shoot a video for that. Let me throw ideas. It's just the output. Besides features, like, I do a lot of features. I've probably done the last year in 2023, I probably did more features than personal work. And I'm talking about maybe, I don't know when they're gonna see the light of day. That's up to the artist. But I know I've probably did over 100 features. So easily.
Dude, to be putting out that much music and putting, more in the vault still that you're always working on, like, are you writing every day, or how often are you picking up a pen?
Okay, so now it's a little different. I'd say 2023, it's a little different. From 2017, 2018 to 2022, I would say I wrote minimum 1 a day. Minimum.
Nice.
I think that because I felt a little behind in my craft, because this wasn't always necessarily my passion. I have been rapping for a long time without knowing that this was going to be my goal. So I already had the hours put in, but like, to take it so seriously, I'm a person that's like, I'm a worker. Like, okay, that's there. I have to get to this level. I have to, and I don't care how long it's going to take. So So I mean, I care how long it's going to take because I want to get there now. So I work hard. So now, like in 2023, I probably like I'm. You could ask JUCO, you could ask Wiz, you could ask anyone that's around me. That pen, we go out of town to New York and we're sitting in the studio. 9 times out of 10, I'm the first one ready. It's just 15 minutes, 10 minutes. So because now with the features so much, and it tends not to be my thing, I love being surprised. Like, all right, the person might give me the feature, pay for the feature on a Thursday. I'll be like, yo, I'm gonna be in the studio. On Saturday, I won't even listen to it. Saturday, go into the studio, put it on. Do-do-do. All right, here it is, and send it out, you know, and that's what really happened. Now it's just it's there now. I've worked that hard to get there.
Hell yeah, man. I get it. People who put in that dedication to the craft and are writing verses every day,
Right.
it eventually gets to a point where, yeah, if you need it, you can call on it, right? So
Absolutely.
definitely understand that. So for your own albums that you've been putting out, like what's the process been like on those? Do those come together very quickly too? Or is it kind of dig through the vault and choose which tracks go together? Or have you been sitting down to write a specific album, you know?
It kind of starts in the way that, like, especially a new producer, like I'll give you an example, Wavy to God, like that I work with that's not around me physically. He would maybe send me a joint that I'd love you on, and then I'd get it done quickly, and he'd be like, since you did this, here's 2 more beats. And I get that done quickly, and then it turns into something. Sometimes the beats don't come as fast, pause, and then I'm like, all right, let me just wait. And then when the next set comes through, then we're there. And then it's not the musical part that takes long. It's usually just okay, now we're so vast and we have so much. It's clearly that we have to put a project out. Let's see what makes sense, what fits with each other, or what could be just a single, what goes together. And then we start crafting there. Usually I'll have a bulk, and then, okay, let's figure the last song, the first song, and then the cohesive song. And it's usually 3 songs left when we decide this is going to be a project.
Nice, yeah.
And that's it.
So how far ahead are you planning drops on average? Like, do you know how many projects you'll have by the end of 2024? Or
I like to say I do, but because of the process, like right now, like last year, I should have had way more projects out, and that's why I'm kind of playing catch up. Just because we took a route of doing shows. I did a lot of shows last year. I put a lot into and that's why I didn't write as much, just for the fact of like, we make so much music on top of it. Memorizing this stuff becomes tough. So by the time things are out and like, this is the go-to, like, oh, let me get back to this. And now I have to memorize this and, you know, feel the feeling, because whatever breathing I was doing to get some of these joints out, because even sometimes my cadences are all over the place, where it's like, oh, let me remember how I breathed that. Oh, that was pretty,
yeah,
you know.
where's the inhale supposed to go? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So just all those type of things. But then I have all these projects set out, and then I have also projects that are collaborative. Like I have one with JUCO and my man Jesse, you know, and then I have the other producers like P.A. Dre from Philly, Pennsylvania. He's a RJ Payne's main producer.
Nice.
I have Really Him, which is Texas by way of Syracuse. I have all these producers that are like, we haven't put the stamp on it. We haven't done the final process, but because I started them all over the place, now I'm sitting here. I have Let Me Talk My Shit Too with Wiz. So then I start thinking, all right, who's going to take the lead? I'm starting to get a little bit more, maybe a curmudgeon a little bit, just because I've done so much work and I've seen the part of being spoiled by the producer that loves it. Because Finn, Future Wave, they love it so much. When they make their baby, now I have to I have to come in and grapple with those guys. Like, let me have input on what's going on, you know? But they're so excellent at it that it's not a tough grapple. Like
as far as each song itself, or as far as like the sequencing on the album, or
sequence, artwork, friggin' direction.
Yeah.
And then Finn's gonna shoot videos. Like, I think the video should be like this. All that part, I'm so spoiled by that. And that's how I started this game. Now, with these other guys that are just all over the place, it's like, I know they're doing other things, and it's no offense to them, just like I'm doing other things. It's some time-ish. Like, all right, maybe my other mindset is like, even if we don't get a project off, I can use these tracks for something else and this for something else. Now, when I'm with my brothers, because we're at this point in the game that, like, for me, it's not about quantity, it's about complete quality. Because my crowd has been seeing me progress. And because I have so much music that might be within a year or 2 years old, now I can pick and say, nah, we don't need that. So let me build with the brother that's right beside me like a whiz and pick the best. And now we're gonna go look up the best artists, and we're gonna look up the best features that I haven't worked with yet. And we're gonna look up all these things and make it the best. So now it's gonna be tougher for me to go back to PAJ, to go back to those, but not to say the music's not in is dope, but I'm gonna use them differently probably. And then if we come back around to build on a project where that time is spent, because I'm finding myself now, like I'm going to New York in 4 days, just cause I'm like, okay, I need to connect with this. I need to shoot a video for this. I need to do this. Let's just go and get it done. I need to go to LA to do this. Let's just go and meet those people that I did it with. So the PAJs, the Really Hims, I'm forgetting like so much people that have Spanish Ran. We did like 8 songs in probably a week, and he got so much going on. If I go to New York and say, when I'm ready to stamp that, like, yo, let's go. Let's just wrap this up. And that's how I'm going to take the time. But really, and I'm not going to stop creating either. So the excitement of having something new that I listen to over and over again, like, oh, I want this out now, but I can't skip the other 1,000 joints out over there, is tough. But I sit down and really take time. Now it's more patience because the quality matters. Yeah. And if I get 8 out, if I get 4 out, if I get 2 albums out, it's going to be a win. It's going to be a win.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, it's always been solid quality, whether you're, working with producers who you actually can sit with, or whether you've been working with, producers, like you said, who are all over the map. I think it's two different vibes that you get from that. But either way, I mean, your bars are going to be your bars. And, if the beats are good, it's going to come together. Yeah.
That's it.
So I've seen you talk on a different podcast, I think, about how, I don't know, you spent some time being like correct me if I'm wrong, but like a social worker or something before coming back to rap. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and you mentioned how kind of like seeing the resurgence of some of this kind of sound in mainstream spaces was what brought you back. Right. So would you have, like, were you still writing rap, or is kind of the real draw to come back to making music that there's a possibility again, like that there's a lot of opportunity now?
Right. I reflect on this often right now, because I like to call myself an ethnocentric, capitalistic communitarian. And there's a lot of things that cancel each other out in that sentence.
I like that description, man. That's very apt of you to describe yourself that way. I've had a tough time describing your music to people, because it's like, yeah, he's rapping about guns and drugs and gangster shit sometimes, but he's got knowledge in there too,
Right. And that's even beyond music. That's just how I describe myself, because I see it, I understand it, I make my bed with it. Like, even doing the bad, and I've done a lot of bad. Even while the best thing my parents did for me was telling me what's right or wrong, and me making the bad decision and knowing this is wrong. But why is it right? Why is it a necessity? And I made choices where, when I think back, I could have been a scholar. Like, I really could have. I was grade. Some things changed that maybe been in my mom's choices. Like, when I was in grade 5, they could have put me in grade 8. If they did that, would that have changed a lot of things? Or maybe that's still like higher mediocre. I'm not Big Bang Theory dudes, like those dudes. I'm still maybe a little bit better, but coming from Belize to a British system, maybe that advanced me in a certain way with memory or whatever. Anyway, I digress.
No, man, that makes sense. I mean, I can hear it in the music too. You've obviously got a very wide vocabulary, and you're obviously thinking about things in a way that isn't surface level, which is, something I appreciate in your music.
Thank you. Thank you. And I say that, so now leaving school, making my own choices, and the capitalistic part of being what I described, it was very attractive to me, was very, I want, like, I'm a get fly person. I love regardless of women or whatever. So I'm gonna get to your original point. So now I progress, and music has been a part of the life, and writing, and my dude Chops that passed, he had me in the studio. I've had dudes along the way that always want to be rappers, and I couldn't see it, even no matter what time. I'm an 83 baby, so you could do the math. I've been through many eras. Mm-hmm. No matter what time, I just couldn't see the capitalistic being in Canada, maybe in Toronto. I just didn't see, no one made it like that. I'm like, this is a dream. It's a bigger dream as going to NBA to me.
Right.
And I had those dreams too. So having that now going there is like, all right, now time goes. I write and write my whole life. Like, my wife, I've known her for 12 years. And in our first 5 or 6 years, she didn't even know. But she did know that when she'd stay at my house, sometimes she'd hear me at night when she's sleeping. And I'm outside in my living room typing and writing raps, and and in production that might be taken from YouTube. And I'd go to the studio. I'd pay for studio time. Sonny Diamonds, he actually hit me up recently like, yo, did you used to record? This is like someone Drake used to record at. And Boy Wonder, like, yeah, I used to just pay for time because by myself, not get it mixed, just have. And my dude C's, salute C's, my right hand, he doesn't do music, nothing. He's just a behind the scenes guy. He's like, yo, I have CDs, because I'd share it with him. I have USB sticks of thousands of tracks. Like, this is crazy. And I listened to him like, wow. Like, I was preparing myself for this in essence. And through the discovery, because I realized probably at like 27, 28-ish, I made mistakes. Like, I got shot, and getting shot kind of put a reflection because I was going so hard. And because getting shot had nothing to do really with the street, it was more of a domestic situation. My sister, a long story. Going through that put a reflection of like, if I got shot like this, it's way easier for me to get shot like this. I need to change. And I had a house at this time, and it was a party house. We used to go crazy and spending money and all types of stuff. And then I relocated and I got a condo. And I just said, let me take some space away. And a lot of people that were close to me like, yo, you can't change. Everyone's fear was, you can't change. Why do you care what I do? Yeah. If you love me and if I make a decision, what do you mean I can't? You can't stop selling. You can't stop move. You can't. Yeah, I can. But I can't too. So when I started reflecting, I'm like, in order for me to live this lifestyle, I can't stop. And this is limited. And I always wasn't a proponent of school at that point where I was like, yo, school is not my shit. I'm not paying nobody to go to school. I only believed if you go to school, continuing education after high school, you go to school after that, that is something that you should be going for a guarantee. I knew many people that went for computers and business and all this type of silly shit, paid a bunch of money to start in debt. So I said, no, I'm never going to do this. So in a time, maybe around, also at that time, 28, 27, my mom had got cancer and it wasn't looking good. And she's about education. So she said to me, all I want you to do is just finish your high school. And that led me going back to a continuing education school. I went back over there and I was like, I'm gonna just get this. And maybe because of my maturity and my confidence and just I'm communicating with the teachers like they're just on the same level as me. Yeah. And they just saw something brighter and they're like, yo, college, the way you could help the community could be so different. You literally care. Yeah. You're vulnerable. Just writing is writing now. So in those English classes, in those whatever type of class, a friggin' community class, like a social work class, I'd smoke because I have a story and I can write. So now we're going there, bam, 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 bam. Then it's like, yo, why don't you consider going to college? I'm like, fuck, college, really? Should I? And I'd ask questions like, so what's entrepreneurial within social work? Because that's the only thing I could see myself interested in. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to take a business course. I'm not going to take for what? So I can make a business out of anything. And when I got those answers of like, yo, you can't, there's no money in social work, that made me say, there has to be. I have to find it, because that means no one cracked the code. And now when I got into college, and like I'm back in not that I wasn't in the community, but I'm also in the community now with another generation, like seeing kids of various from 20 down when I'm about to reach 30.
Yep.
And seeing
being able
also
to talk with any type of actual experience that can relate
right.
to people who are out there going through it too goes so far.
Right.
I myself, like I'm not a social worker, but I've worked at a supervised consumption site that I worked at for 3 years, and
Right.
dude, just incorporating hip hop into kind of building bonds with people was so
Absolutely.
powerful. You know, as soon as people heard that I could rap, it was like, yo, bust a freestyle then, Mr. Rap.
Right.
Like let's hear it. And as soon as they figured out, okay, this guy actually does this,
Serious. Yeah.
you know, suddenly
Right.
I'm not just another nurse or whatever working there.
Right.
I was somebody who they felt like I was on their level. Yeah,
you
yeah.
can relate.
So it goes so far.
That was important. And then on top of it, so now we go from the college aspect of all the younger kids. So now we're dealing with people 20 and under, and then getting into the field, because in the second year of it, you have to go and do like a little internship type of shit. You go there, and then now I'm in Scarborough Town Center. I'm in the places, and I have people that are also in the community that I know, like my dude, Uncle Doe. He'd been doing community work. So I said, all right, all these programs are failing. All right, let me use my resources. This is free of charge. And I started changing shit around. Now, when I started changing shit around, I just started seeing the politics of what these bigger companies that are not for profit, or even the for-profit ones, they're just taking advantage, bro. There's 5 big. Is there swearing in this?
Oh yeah, you can swear. It's all good. Dude.
Okay, so there's like 5 people at the top that are collecting between 150,000 and 300,000 a year, and then there's the next level under that are making like 70, and they're trying to friggin' take out the top people, and the top people know that they're trying to take them out, and then there's people like us under that are making 30. I'm like, this pyramid scheme will not work for the benefit of the community. It won't, because your community of workers doesn't work, and I could see it clear as day.
Yeah, that's deep, man. I saw that same thing going on at the
clear as day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, and on top of it, I'm making more money than all of you right now, and I don't want to do this. So I'm like, damn, okay. So I created disciplines within myself about how I'm going to hustle. I said, all right, I'm not going to hustle this certain type of thing. I'll keep it like this. I'm not going to sell to my people immediately. I'll sell to this. Mm-hmm. I create little, that's like making a deal with God. Like, God, help me out as long as I
try to keep some morality in it, but still be able to pay bills, right? Yeah.
So I was moving like that a lot to maintain. And then when I finished the school, it was just like, I was thinking barber shops, maybe like that's a way I could do the social work thing. And Doe called me, like right as I was finished school and my next thing. And he's like, yo, I want to meet you. This is around New Year's. He's excited. 2016, going into 2016. He's excited. And he's like, let me come by the crib. So he came by the crib maybe like the 4th. And he explained to me he was in Boy Wonder's house and all this type of shit. And he had an experience. He's like, yo, because I released something for my boy Chops on like an anniversary of his death. There was a video, but the video was also, the song in that video was like 6 years old before. So he's like, yo, you see that thing you did? And he's like, that video? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you should rap. Like, I know you have it. I'm like, what? That? Nah, you don't need that, because even with me playing around with music, I was doing different type of things. I wasn't necessarily rapping just like this. Like, I think about the time of Wiz Khalifa and Currency and A$AP Rocky and all those type of stuff in the production at those times.
Yeah.
I was kind of messing around with those production because it wasn't for anybody. It was just for me. Let me see if I can make a song like this. Let me see Mac Miller's. Let me see if I can make this type of shit. And so he'd heard some of the recent shit, kind of just of stuff I played around with, and he's like, yo, you could do that. I'm like, what? Nah, like, this is not what I want to do. He's like, no, I know what you want to do. I know who you are. He knows we're Woo heads. We grew up kind of around in the same area.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, look at this. And, you're talking about Rock Marcy. I'm like, yeah, I know about Rock Marcy. And then he showed me the Griselda. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And me being a researcher, I just went down the line, and that was early time. And I'm like, if this is pliable and I'm seeing vinyls being sold and all types of shit, I'm like, if this is pliable, let me try it, because I've never released anything. So my goal became, it had nothing to do with Griselda. Thank you to Griselda, but this is still my own dream, where it's like, I've never released something myself. How could I know that it's possible if I've never released something official? I was part of some mixtapes in the city and whatever. Nothing that was my own project. And that's when Nimbus came. And that experience was just the experience I needed and gave me the bug. And I'm a researcher at heart, man. I'm going to study it all the way. Like, let me see what's going on. And then I started seeing the field, and I started seeing people, and who in the city is messing like this? And who is this? Oh, okay. And I'm going to show up and let's get it done. All right. Yo, you have this resource, and then plus the stuff just being on the street back in the day and moving around. I have natural people that I can just go here. Let me try this. Let me try this. And now you're sitting here, and then you connect with someone that knows this person, that values this person, that holds that person's word, and they're going to validate me. And now it's like, now you're creating a tribe. And I love to say tribe, because I've found a new tribe of people. I have my friends that are my friends' friends that aren't music, but I spend way more time with my musical friends that I've known in the last 5 to 7 years. Like, I've known them for 25 years now.
Man, that's a reoccurring theme from anybody I talk to. Everybody tells me that the bonds they build making music with people, and in my own life, I've seen it too. Those are the strongest ones, man. My best friends are all guys I made music with.
Right.
You know? Yeah. Hey, can I ask you just a couple rapid fire questions here? Like,
sure.
Who's your target audience? There's so much talk online about like how you're supposed to know your target audience. Is that something you've ever thought about?
Of course. I've thought about it a million times. I've thought about it in the straight, I want to be Drake in my mind. Like, I want to hit a target audience like Drake. That's not realistic.
Drake's target audience, I think, is everybody, right?
Everybody.
Like, that's not blanket everything.
And even Drake, if you really check it, he has fear, which is why they say that he's making childish music. That shows the fear within him, in my opinion. There's no disrespect. That shows the fear within him, that he still feels like he has to hit that target audience. Right. I don't feel that at all. And I don't have that type of money nor popularity. If I had this popularity or money, I would do things totally different, but whatever. Yeah. My mindset is, I think I've shuffled. I want to hit my target audience is anyone above 30 with living experience.
I like that. Yeah.
Anyone above 30 with living experience.
I feel like there has to be a lane to push hip hop to that crowd. And I don't know, it's tough to get them to spend money because they've all got kids. Everybody's trying to raise a family or whatever. That's the tough one. But yeah, I think that there has to be a way to tap into it.
And that's why right now this discouraging part of music is because it's anyone in sales right now is discouraged. It's not just music. Economy is so bad. Yeah. You're selling drugs right now, you're discouraged. You're selling pussy right now, you're discouraged. Yeah. Because people are not buying as much. And if they're going to buy it, they're going to spend on something that they really value and really love, or they're going to get it so cheap that, okay, cool. It's like, that's why China wins, because China makes the cheap shit. Yeah, we make tons of, we won't make cars, they'll make cars, but we won't make the most expensive thing. We will capitalize on all these trinket life, the dollar store shit.
Mass production and
mass production. So those are the two lanes. It's either the real quality, value, high-end shit that you sell less of, or the real microwave shit that anyone could buy for cheap.
Definitely.
And I see that. So, but this middle part, the strong will survive. That you'll end up being successful. You just got to wait the time out because of cycles and the way economy is. Fucking Best Buy is trying to friggin' survive right now. Home Depot's trying to survive right now. And these are big box. So who are we to say that it's going to be tough?
Yeah, so it's going to be tough, but I feel like it's there because, like, I'm sure you know all sorts of people who, say things like hip hop died or fucking, they're not into the new stuff or whatever. But those people are still out there. And like, if we can show them, there is new music that still sounds like the old stuff, there's a lot of woo heads out there, man.
Those people are just lazy or just not willing to conform to technology. Yeah. Because you can conform to technology and still find your nostalgia.
Yeah. Definitely.
Whatever you love. Yeah, it's just people are scared to, I don't want to go into all this stuff. And I know people that started listening to podcasts this year. Like, where are you in the world? How are you just listening to podcasts this year? Like,
man. Dude, can I ask you, kind of leading in from that, what do you think about Spotify? And we touched on it earlier about how, you put it to Spotify a year later or whatever. But Spotify has been a big topic, ever since everybody was posting those Spotify raps. I feel like the indie artists of the world have really kind of had enough at this point.
Yeah. I think in particular with the wrap ups, I think it's I love it just to see numbers, but are those numbers even real? I don't know. I had good numbers. I had better numbers than the year before, but I refused to post it for personal. Not, I understand the competitive aspect, like, oh, you're scared to show because this person is. I think it's more. I'm not giving those guys free advertisement.
Yeah.
For what? Like everything's an algorithm. You put that Spotify logo. Now that Spotify logo is an algorithm that they just made money off of because they're gonna anything Spotify logo or Spotify related. Who knows what companies are parent and sister and brother companies that get into your shit now, right? So I refuse to do that. Spotify as a tool, adult, it's a necessity.
It's a great way to find new music too, man. Like honestly, I wouldn't have found a lot of different artists that I play on AdSync every week if it wasn't for Spotify, right?
I'm an iTunes payer. Like I pay monthly subscription. I love my music, but I'm also a buyer. It's different, right?
Yeah. So everything I play, I buy. Yep.
Yeah, and it's like, okay. So then now we go there, and it's like, one thing I really would love to know that I don't think we'll ever know, who runs the algorithm? How do we know that these numbers are official? There's no way to tell me. Back in the day with CDs, there's 1 million CDs made. The CD that replicates the CD knows that we did 1 million, and there's some code that really stamped in that said there's 1 million copies.
And even then you'd hear about Def Jam or whoever buying a bunch of them and putting them in a factory someplace.
They can buy it and cheat the numbers, but they were made, right? Now with Spotify, we don't know. We don't know. What if we really did 10 million? We're going to tell them 1 million because we don't even want to pay that extra. How
you know what, though, man? Like guys like you and I, people who know the industry, we know when we see certain artists and it's like the guy from our city or whatever, 100%. And suddenly he's got 100,000 plays overnight. It's just like, 100.
No, we know that. But as far as now, let's say I am a 10 million. Let's say I am a Meek Mill or I am a Drake.
Sure.
How do I know my number? That 100 million's a big 100 million difference, and no one's gonna look at you like you're bad.
Yeah.
What if I played 5 billion that they told me, and I really played 10 billion? How are you gonna argue that? And now where's that money?
Yeah.
Right. So when I look at all that in the big scheme of things, it's a Ponzi. Everything that capitalism is built on is Ponzi. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. The money is fake.
The money is moving up.
And it's fake, and then it's being recycled also. It still has to be limited. Money is based off of something physical. So it should be a limited in count. So what it's worth as it goes up, that's why bread goes to $7 when it was $2.
Yeah.
Because whatever is holding up that dollar is not valuable anymore. So as it's going up and it recycles back over and they just take it again, it's just fake. It's just fake. It's just fake in order to create a system that sustains.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I want to cheat too. Let me be a Ponzi. If I understand that this is a game, let me be part of the game or not and die trying. And that's a longer fucking battle. And maybe some people are built to endure that battle. I'm down for it. I just don't have no time or headspace to fucking create or be the leader for that. I wish I did. That's where I got into my moral dilemma of like, I wish I could have been the Malcolm X and the martyr, like, because really in my scholar mind, I can be that. Really, if I go wholehearted and say this, and it might be a better existence, I don't know, but I love money too.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what do you think about conscious rap? Because I feel like, or like backpacker rap, or however you want to put it, like, because I feel like there's not a lot of crossover. Like I personally like music from both sides of hip hop, right? Like to me, it's about wordplay and authenticity, and I think you can hear that in either of those two lanes. But I feel like people who typically will go out and support the rapper who's rapping about his day-to-day life and doesn't have any of the gangster stuff involved in it, or rapping about pushing positivity and stuff.
Right.
That crowd doesn't often come across to people who are pushing, street music more, and vice versa too, right?
And what you're saying is true. I think it's a balance. You know why the good guy, like a church rapper, won't work? Is because we're human. We fucking suck. We
Yeah.
fucking suck. So you're lying to us, being preachy or whatever, all this conscious shit. You probably ate pork at some time. You probably fucking ate some bullshit. You probably drank soda. You probably did some bullshit.
Yeah.
And you have to put the bullshit in there too, because we're human. So we love that. Now, let's say you have 80-20 parts. I think it's all balanced because I would consider Jay-Z conscious rap.
Yeah.
To me.
A lot of the time. Yeah, exactly. He's got
right?
a lot of messages in there. Yeah.
What's conscious to you, right?
Yeah.
I consider, there's a long time I hated J. Cole. Me and my homie, same dude, C's, he'd always put J. Cole. I'm like, yo, J. Cole, man, like this college bullshit.
I agree with you, man. I can't listen to it. I
can't listen to it.
I can respect it, but I don't listen to it.
Yeah, I get it. Is bubblegum. I'm like, yo, there's no selling drugs to this. I can't do it. I couldn't do it. And then now J. Cole has life experience. Yeah. So even though he's not rapping about drugs, he's still relating to me because it's interpersonal battles.
Well, and because he's got eyes, he sees what's going on in neighborhoods, so he can talk about it, right?
And it's interpersonal battles. Like, yo, me thinking about like being like that, like, am I not good? The new rapper right now is the rapper that is like real to them, the honest person where it's like, yo, I could speak about the drugs around me. I can say like, do I need to do this to be a good rapper? Like all those battles inside relate to people, and speaking about it will relate to a whole crowd of people, of kids coming up that are going through it in their mind. Because my homie Chops, he didn't have to sell drugs either, but he wanted to be a rapper. He knew he wanted to be a rapper. He studied rap so hard at that time that, yo, selling drugs will add to my resume as a rapper. It might not be completely conscious, it's subconscious, but this is what feeds us, right? So we need J. Cole. We need that.
There's a specific image that comes with being a rapper. Actually, you just reminded me when I posted that promo for this yesterday. One of my homies hit me and he's like, yo, I don't know this guy, but he's really got that rapper image down perfect, man. Who is this? So I pointed him towards your music or whatever. But I wanted to ask, like, how important do you think kind of maintaining an image like that is?
I think when you're young, that's all it is, right? Like you don't even know you're doing it just because it's so. There's my dilemma. It's like how much I have cousins in Belize that started blood and banging in Belize, which it was already there, but because I'm North American and coming with that energy, they're more influenced to be like that more because they're seeing me. And they're younger than me. And I was let's say when I was 18 and 16 and 24, they're seeing me in those ages as they're becoming 8, 10, 12. And that's because I'm right next to them. So it influenced them that heavy. So my dilemma is always like, yo, damn, I'm being influenced, by something out there. And then I'm carrying that influence and I'm bringing it forward even heavier. I'm bringing it to them closer. Now, I could give a fuck about image because there's so much lived experiences. But within those did I do some of those lived experiences subconsciously, unconsciously, not knowing that it was like, I didn't need to do that.
Right.
I didn't need to do these things. I don't need to put these tattoos on my hand. I didn't need to do none of that. But it creates an image. But now everything is so watered down. For me, the way I look at it, I'm like, I just don't believe you until I see you. But I also have enough respect to say, yo, I'm gonna respect you until proven otherwise, right? So that's for me right now, to answer the question, image I don't give a fuck, but I understand it means something. Like, obviously, that's one thing all my people always said, like, yo, you look the part for your whole life. Like, that beyond that, like, if my dude Caesar I tell me, as long as you get good with rap, you're gone, bro, because you look the part, you have the story, just get good. I always hear that, and that used to hurt me a little too, because like, yo, but anyone
likes being told to get good, man.
Anyone can look the part though. You know what I mean? If you really want to. If you want to change your shit, if you want to get a tight fade, tattoo your neck,
sure, yeah,
out of here, bro. Yeah. You look apart.
There you go, man. Yeah. Dude, can I ask you a couple more of these? Just, I like to ask people, how important is this or that? So how important is a good stage show to you for an MC to have? Important.
I think now, I'm long-winded, pause, but I think now that when we look at people, that's the last remaining thing of the old time. connecting with I get more fans that are loyal after a show.
Yeah, that's where you really win people over.
That's where I really win people that are forever. Yeah. Like no matter what he does, I'm gonna buy that. It's from usually those show people. Those people, I like to say I have like between 500 and 1,000 loyal people. Most of those people have seen me perform.
Yeah. Nice. That's a good base of fans to have, that number, man. Sure. 500 to 1,000. That's a lot of people are still aspiring for that one. So yeah. Sure. So as a Canadian artist, how important are getting grants? I know, a lot of artists tap in and get those grants, and a lot of artists just shrug it off and pay it themselves.
I spent a lot of time last year on this part. I have a meeting tomorrow about this right now, meeting with someone valuable. It's politics, man. I thought it was going to be easier. I know a lot of people that get crazy grants have done, you don't even know them as rappers. You don't even know who the fuck they are. And they probably have like 5 releases out there, and they've gotten maybe $50,000 in grants in the last 2 years.
Yeah. Dude, I look at the list of like who gets money from Factor every year, and like some of the time, it's people I've played one song by, and he got $20,000 for like artist growth or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Just not even defined.
It's gross because all the stuff that they say, I've done the exactly how you're supposed to write it, the writer. And now because I'm starting to get behind the curtain, I can't lie to you. I'm starting to I know people that are on these boards.
Yeah.
And some good people that show me love. And I've had SoCan gave me a house in LA for a week. I've won that. That's the one thing I've actually gotten. I've met good people, but also it's a panel. So maybe I have 1 or 2 people on that panel that votes for me to get it. I don't have the other 8. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I ever will. And I might know the other 8 though.
Yeah.
They don't know that I know, but I might know the other 8 though. And this is where image hurts. See, everything has a balance.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you I spent this money. I'm vulnerable. I wear it on my sleeve. I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna continue to spend this money. In fact, in one of my early grants, my dude laughed at me. He's like, "Why'd you put this?" I put in there like, "Yo," at the end, like to summarize, like, regardless of what you guys decide, I'm still gonna be here doing what I do. I don't know why I felt the need to. I'm gonna still put. If you guys don't give me this 25,000, I'll still put 25,000 to do what I do. He's like, "Why would you put that?" I'm like, "Because I just know I'm not gonna get it, but let them know you're not stopping me."
Yeah.
Because I know there's people that will comment on my page, "Yo, crazy," and then be the same person like, "We're not gonna give him money," and that fucking sucks because what I would do with that money, it triples and quadruples because. Clearly, I'm not going to run off with the bag. Clearly, I put so much in, it'd be stupid to run off with the bag.
Well, and you got a track record that shows you've been making music. So, like, what do they think you're going to stop now once they give you a check for it?
I don't know. I think it'll be on a grander scheme though, because I'm still out here in the street mode of facts of like, I'm not paying the price. Whatever the price you see for the Rolex, 20,000, I'll get it for 15 to 10. No matter what.
Yeah. And I think with grants, man, it's a lot of competition too, right? Like it's heavy competition. So a lot of these people that are choosing who gets the grant might not know one person from the next. So
definitely competition. Yeah. But at the same time, there's area-based grants. There's things that are like, specific to Scarborough community, specific to hip hop, specific to a minority. You know which boxes I check? Person that wasn't born in Canada, Black, Spanish, Scarborough, all these boxes, I almost would be in the top 5% of that part alone. And then now we check the box of how much work you put in. Now that percentage comes to 2.5.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so what else do I got to check?
Push that community message too, man. You do have some community message in your music, and that's what they want to give grants to, So
I can't stop that. Definitely. But I'm not going to do it that way exactly just because that's also not me. So, but I'm going to do it right. Like I'm trying to warm aside because I'm a family guy. I'm trying to tone it down more because I feel the need to. As far as like so much joke talk, but that joke talk is exciting because it's still
what people want to hear too. Right? It's dramatic.
I love it too. I love it. Like that's a love. That was a love interests, you know? So it's
For real.
easy. That shit is fire. Like it's just fly. Like you can't even talk. Like you don't even know what I'm talking about sometimes. And I love that you don't know. Like, you know, so that's what I love too.
Word, man. How important is it to have a manager? How about that one?
Yeah, it's very important, but there's levels of managers, and this is what's sad for the game. This is why the game. I also had this conversation with because I have a lot of talent around me, a lot of talent, rappers and everything, and younger, and ones that are gonna should exceed what I do, as long as they follow through and have work ethic. They should exceed what I do. Will they? I don't know,
Mm.
but I believe if I had two of me and one of me could play the manager role, oh, I'd be gone. I'd
Yeah.
be gone. But also I know that that manager that would be me as my manager, once I reach a level, my loyalty would still make him a part of my team, but he wouldn't be useful as a manager eventually. There'd have to be another level of manager because every step to get towards another place, you need that person that has the credentials. And besides credentials, a diploma don't mean shit about manager. It's about credentials of your reputation and who you know. It's like that lawyer that you pay 10,000 for, the lawyer that you get off the government. You pay 10,000, you don't even have to go into court. Why? Because that lawyer knows the judge, knows this lawyer, that lawyer. You pay 10,000 to get you out of here.
Yeah.
Right. So that next manager is that manager that knows Jigga, that knows Jigga's manager, that knows Rock Nation, that knows all the people in important places that will get you out of here. And that now that manager that grinded with you from the bottom and all that stuff that deserves the most, he's not going to be valuable anymore. But he was so valuable to get you here. And
you got to keep him on the team. Got to keep him on the payroll somewhere. Anyway. Yeah,
somewhere. But now it takes a personality understanding that, because now that's where friction happens. We've seen it on Dame Dash and Jay-Z on a high level.
Yeah.
That's why I wish it was two of me, because me knowing as a manager would understand why it happened, right?
Well, and they always say nobody's going to push as hard for you as you're going to push for yourself, right?
That's a fact.
Yeah,
that's a fact. But that's why I want to be a manager too, because I see with my long play, like I'm going to push hard I'm going to know all my artist lyrics. I'm going to know that they're the best. I'm going to know what they do well. I'm going to know what they don't do well. I'm going to be interested in them, like just like the common fan is interested in their favorite rapper.
Yeah.
That should be your manager.
Can I ask you, how important is pressing vinyl? I know, you've been pressing a lot of vinyl. Is it a big element that you'd never let go of?
Yeah, Merciless is the biggest proponent. Like, doesn't count unless it's on vinyl. Doesn't count. That's DJ Merciless, so to DJ Merciless. I just think in economy, I'm a hustler, so I always see it as hustle. I've changed that perspective. I think it's just a marker that's left on this world. Especially in the economy time, we're not pushing vinyl to get rich. I think there was a little time and space, 2018, 2020, maybe 2021, where vinyl was making bags. That's why we were making so much projects, because we're selling them out so fast as we're making them. Now, economy and so much more people doing it, it's watered it down, and it's not going to be that. But it's a need. It validates you. It's a stamp.
Definitely. DJs love it. I'm not surprised to hear, your DJ pushes for you to press vinyl. That makes sense.
For sure.
The last interview I did was with an MC named Thug Shells, who's like an incredible freestyler. And I wanted to ask, how important to you is the ability to freestyle for an MC to have?
I think it's important. I think some people excel at that amazingly. Like I know some guys that are crazy. Some of the best rappers I know aren't rappers. Like
they don't put out songs,
don't have albums or nothing.
Yeah.
I know. So I have homies that can freestyle their ass off better than people can make music.
Yeah,
and they just can do that.
And I mean, it buys a crowd over, right?
It gets you that attention immediately. It's extremely talented, especially if you know that it's coming off the top. I think that it's important that you go through that. Like me personally, I used to freestyle every day, probably like from like 12 to maybe 19, 18, 20, 21 started slowing down more, but I could just do it anytime. I think it's a trait that you should have to practice in order to do it, but I don't think it's a necessity. I don't think it's a need for you. I've had conversations because I tell guys like, I have to go on the show to freestyle, and guys like, you're going to go do that. And although the freestyle in those shows are written, right? you're gonna go do it. People have a complete fear of even doing that.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, to actually go off the top in one of those situations is like unheard of at this point.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
Nowadays, unheard of. I think that's an amazing. I think that's a unique talent that you could capitalize off of. Definitely.
For sure. So last one of these important questions. How important is listening to legends of hip hop?
Yeah. What do you consider legends?
I mean, I think everybody's going to have a different list of them, right? But
yeah, I mean, like if I told my 15-year-old, because I Christmas time now, I'm with a lot of my nephews and stuff. I always talk. Anytime I get around them, like, what do you listen to? We always end up at the TV around YouTube searching what we love, and I want to see. I always ask, what's your favorite top three? Let me hear it.
Yeah.
Let me hear these joints. And
that's why I asked this question, because I feel like a lot of youth, they don't go back.
Right. I'd go back for certain points, but I wouldn't tell my, you have to listen to Melly Mel. Like,
yeah,
you have to listen. And as much as if they love something I put on, like, let's say I put on a Jigga verse or something older, and like, you like that, you should listen to this Rakim joint. Yeah. You like this Nas shit, you should listen to this Nas shit from this time.
Make sure you know Illmatic if you enjoy his new stuff.
Yeah, you should, like those cut the 90s cut off. I think you should know that, because the skill level is so high at that point.
Yeah.
Not to say that it to become this, it takes that, but like, I also understand that your mindset can't understand that, especially production level. I think a lot of production from the early 80s is not really, mid 80s is not really crazy, but there's some joints.
I mean, it was on the earliest drum machines that were coming out and stuff. Yeah. So yeah.
I can hear drums on freaking a Michael Jackson joint. That's like, ew, like, this is so fucking Fisher Price.
Definitely.
But it was of the time. You have to understand it. And if you're not able, there's certain people that have a quality empath that can take themselves and be like, oh, imagine this whole time. When I listen to a Prince joint, I imagine the whole time. I could see what the club looks like when they're playing that Prince, like, probably like it's 1999 for
what it would have been like to hear it back then.
Of course, like, I could smell it. I could smell that fucking hippie shit on them. Like, I could smell the drugs. I could smell the acetone.
Yeah. Dude, I respect your time. We're over an hour here, but there's a couple questions I always ask everybody. So can I get you to describe the local Toronto scene?
I think the Toronto scene is beautiful. I think we've always been, Toronto should be a force recognized as Queens, Brooklyn, Philadelphia. We should be recognized in those places as far as rap, especially that hard street shit, like that drug, bully, conscious, whatever, backpack, whatever those areas that you think about, Brooklyn, Queens, Philadelphia, I think Toronto should be mentioning that. And we're going to be eventually. We're on our way. And I think Toronto has the diverse too. We just like a New York City has the drill shit.
Yeah.
We have that as well. I think Toronto is just 100%. A baby New York City. Like, we're here where there's a lot of dope talent. There's a lot of talent production. Toronto's flourishing creatively.
Dope.
It's just, the thing, the screw face capital. It's just that shit we can't get rid of. It's hard for us to come together. And even when we come together, it's to a point. It's to a point of, once we reach a level that we haven't even made success and we're already not liking each other.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately, I have the experiences with some of the people you already mentioned. Like, I don't get along with some people that I'm here with for bullshit because of egos. Like, people haven't even done shit yet. Like, who cares that you can rap? You haven't done shit yet. But we're creatively, we're there, And I think, and with that, my mind is not stupid enough to say, ignorant enough to say that that's not also Canada. Because I'm starting to see a lot of Alberta I've been getting reached out to do shows in Alberta, and the artists that they're telling me about, and I'll go and hear a track like, oh shit, like this computer right here has made everything small. So
it's true. Yeah, man.
So what talent? It's the person that could do exactly what I'm doing over there. Exactly, like rhyming words, bro. Like, come on. If you take the dedication and you have something to tell, you're gonna win if you want it that bad. So
Agreed, man. Yeah,
Huh.
and totally agree about the Toronto scene. There's so much talent out there.
Absolutely.
Since I started doing After the Smoke is Clear 5 years ago, I've really been able to find like so many artists out of there, and like you said, diverse, different sounds coming out of there.
Right.
It's a lot of talent there. But can I get you to name just off the top of your head a couple artists who are around you that people should be up on, who maybe they
Oh,
aren't up
hell
on?
yeah. Let's do that. Let's talk about Lord Juco. Lord Juco is incredible. I think he is the person, if you really listen to that brother and you watch, if you had the joy of watching his journey from when he started, of when I know from him Tiffany joints to where he is now, he has a style that is his own. No one sounds like him.
Yeah,
It's very simple but over your head. It has that Jay Z element. He has his
bars,
own.
man, dual
Yeah,
meanings, and yeah,
yeah. He has that production that is just what he chooses. Although it's been chosen by people before, I'm not saying no one else,
sure.
but it's JUCO type beat is gonna be a thing, 100%. And he's just getting better. And I think he is individual. He's driven. He's already has shit. He already, so these guys have mortgages and families and shit. So life experience is there. I think he is going to be. A lot of people are going to be angry that they slept on him. In the business world. In the
Yeah.
business world, he can make a song. So JUCO for sure. Lord Fury, he is the OG of this.
Dude, I wanted to ask you about him specifically because he's done some intros and outros, and I mean he's got verses on songs with you too or whatever. But dude reminds me of like a Papa Wu or something like that, where he can just like talk shit flawlessly, and
he's a street legend out here in Toronto, like in Jamaica, in Toronto, in New York. Like they know him. Just even all the relationships is actually personal relationships, and he can call a Benny and say, "Yo, yo, the guy on your block, this guy, his name," and they'll be like, "What? Who? You know him? How do you know him? Ask him about me." And that's in Buffalo. His range is he's a guy who will go to fucking Fiji, and someone will come up to him in Fiji and be like, "Yo, Lord Fury." That's who he is, and he is. I would say that he is an important piece of business more than music. He does the reggae thing as well. He is incredibly creative, talented. He can write a book. He can write a movie. He can write a cartoon.
Before this interview started, I was playing some of your music, and I played something that had him on it, and he breaks down like how like Fido is like.
Yeah, I don't know.
Drug federal indictment or something and how breaks down how all the phones are listening to you and taking your fingerprints and stuff. Tell us.
Chat
beautiful verse, man. Yeah.
So he is just that guy, and I think so. What someone like me, who's the younger version, what I've brought is revitalization to him. That he has so much music from like the 90s on Merciless's computer that he hasn't got to release, and because someone like me that's pushing it, like his most recent album Rasputin, he has friggin' I produced it, I executive produced it, not the beats. I just put it together, packaged it, did everything,
So where's he actually based? Is he in Toronto? Because
he's Toronto.
I haven't been able to gather that. Okay.
Yeah. So him and Merciless and Killer Priest is actually Wu affiliate. They're a group called Moon Crickets.
Okay. Dope.
They're actually like, if you have the Wu encyclopedia that shows all the affiliates.
Yeah. All the branches of the family tree. No.
Yeah, they're a branch of the family tree. So it's like officially, like when you say Papa Wu, like officially, he has stories. He'd be a great interview because he has stories for days about every Wu member experiences and all types of shit. So he's a different, I don't know, he's one-on-one. Lord Fury, I would say my guy Wisdom, that actually is a producer that did Let Me Talk My Shit. Last year he spent a lot of time getting his rapping because he always wanted to rap. He's my brother and he's getting his shit together. That's one to look out for. It's Wisdom Bonnetal.
Yeah.
He has him and Fuego Gods, him and Che Uno have a group, and they've released a couple projects. They released the Bulletproof Wallets.
What's the name of the group? Do you know?
Fuego Proof Wallet, sorry. Yeah, a group, and they're dope. They're dope. You should listen to them. I'm on that album as well. I think that we got some brothers. We got we got a brother named Ashton Francis as well. He's on my 7th project, Iceberg Slim. He has incredible talent. I think that he just needs to release the stuff he needs to release, and if he gets his stuff together, he will definitely be there.
Is that the dude who calls himself like Young Kutcher or something?
Yeah, Young Kutcher.
Yeah. I played that track before this interview too.
Yeah. His talent is immeasurable, and I think once he starts putting it together and deciding to release and let it go, he has the ceiling like Juco does. Also a younger brother. I think production-wise, especially Benji and Sibs and Gold Era and all those brothers, you see Future Wave already doing this thing.
Yeah.
I believe rapper West Soze also. I like those brothers you've seen. They're out there, but particularly I shine light on everyone. The 3 I want to really shine on, or 4, is Wisdom Bonita, Lord Juco, Ashton Francis, and Highway 308. Highway 308, he's another one like Juco that he can go in the drill trap and he can rap his ass off. He has a story. He's from the hood. He is a street gets.
Yeah. He's actually, I always say, like, I'm not, my roots are boom bap, right? But right. I find trap and I find drill music that I like still, and it's always the lyrically based guys. And he's actually one of the ones who, I've tapped into it, been like, okay, I can fuck with this.
Yeah, he raps boom bap though. Like he'll get on our shit. Like when you hear me and Juco's album, he'll get on our shit, and he used to like. He's from that time, he's from the blood. He's a hooligan. He's one of these blacks in Toronto, and he gets busy. He's another one. If he gets out, he puts a lot of work out. He different than Ashton. He's put a lot of work out, but if he really focuses the business part, there's a part where you get to the business part, because we all these brothers I mentioned want money.
Yeah,
and
everybody wants to be paid to rap, man.
Yeah, and the high ambitions, like, yo, I'm gonna hit this track and it's gonna blow up. And when you come to that realization that that's not how it works, and if you don't have $250,000 or $500,000 to push into a campaign, you're not going to blow up like that.
There's not going to be that one song that gets you there. Yeah.
And whether it's your own money or other people's money to put in to make that happen, it's tough. So in order for you to get to that level on your own, you got to put in a lot of work,
consistency,
a lot of focused work, a lot of time, and a strategy of boom, boom, hit them here, and utilize all your, we're in bartering system. All right, let me do this for you if you do this for me. And, and that's, it's a long haul. So we're going to see those 4 brothers, Wisdom, Lord Juco, Ashton Francis, Highway 308. Let's see how those brothers run their race and see where they end up and who put in the work,
I'm going to keep
and hopefully we all there, because my goal is to just open some doors that I can see behind the curtain and just say, yo, come. Here, let's go. Yeah. Make the music now. That's
so important, man. Yeah.
Make the music. Dubious. You want to make the music. Let me just make the music, and whatever money comes, I'm happy if it can sustain a lifestyle.
Hell yes, man. Any plans for shows or tours coming up that we can plug?
Yeah, I was actually there's some talks about doing a tour on the West Coast, but it kind of slowed. It was supposed to be for like April, March. It's not out the picture, but it slowed the talks. We're like almost there. We're supposed to have Stove God as well. That kind of didn't work out. That business is hilarious. We got a lot of stuff coming. I don't want to speak too soon, just because this game is so fickle. When you do it, because we're trying to work in the contract with lawyers and stuff, but we also have the street purview where we talk on the street level. We end up having, yo, all right, let me do this. All right, cool, I got you. And then because of that, also some things don't work out and it folds. So we're trying to change up, doing more. It might cost a little bit more, but it's more set in stone. But we just love the handshake shit so much, because you end up getting songs, you end up getting music, you end up getting other things.
Yeah.
But we're working.
Dope,
a lot of stuff on it. Like you can expect Supreme Genes. We did Ghostface, Styles P, Conway last year, pretty much in 3 shows in quarters.
That's big, man. That's big.
Yeah, you can expect more of that. And even from levels of the Rakim levels, to levels of Sauce Walker maybe, or Rock Marcy, or, to maybe Ghostface and Styles P together, Ghost and Ghost Show, like maybe a CNN reunion, maybe, there's a lot of connections and we were excited. And just to give you a little bit of breadcrumbs, big things are going to happen for sure.
Nice. We'll be watching, man.
Thank you.
What's
Thank
the best way for people to support you or other artists that they like? That's when I ask everybody. It's a stock answer, but I just like hearing it.
I love your questions. It's a good setup for us. AsunEastwood.com is my immediate website. But I mean, if you follow, I like to play different games because I'm fishing, right? So I'll put like Bandcamp. I had my Bandcamp chilling for a while. And recently I threw everything I had on my website onto Bandcamp and I put it at a lesser price. And I wanted to see what happened, if people are really watching this. And people were buying some of the old stuff. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. So Bandcamp, Asun Eastwood, however, asuneastwood.bandcamp.com, I believe it works like that.
Yeah.
AsunEastwood.com. Asun Eastwood, if you Google that, you would find everything in a row. Like literally, I made sure it's set up properly. You'll find every link, every single link.
Can I ask, because it's so important to have a name that works like that, right? Did you choose Asun Eastwood? Does it have anything to do with Asun Unique? How did you land on Asun Eastwood?
So it's funny because I wish I did now I come back to wishing I did Ace, because Ace is really the nickname that I had as a kid, like, Ace, Asun. And Asun was because I used to wear this gold chain with a sun. And
dope.
I was a huge Old Dirty Bastard fan, huge. Like I could memorize all his whole album is memorized. For me.
Okay, so I saw the connect there properly.
First album,
it was
right.
Okay,
but like it wasn't for that. It was because Chaps was like, "Yo, you're the real Asun." Like Asun, like in my. But how blasphemous would that be on a whole? That's the Asun, and Asun is ASON, right?
Yeah.
But mine is ASUN because it's like I had the sun.
Does he shine like one? Eh?
Yeah, like one, and I had the gold sun pendant in gold when I was in like high school, like this big fucking thick pendant, and they just called me friggin' Asun. And I was like, all right, this stuff. So when I came to the rap shit, it was always Ace or Asun. Everyone called me that. I have a chain Asun. I've had that before I started rapping. They always just call me that. But syllabically, just having one name like Asun just didn't make sense. And I added the Eastwood because East is where I'm from. I rep the East very hard, the East side of Toronto. And Eastwood, one of my favorite movies of all times, it's gonna sound crazy, is Gran Torino. It is so fucking racist.
That wasn't the one I thought you were gonna go with. No,
I know. That's why it's funny. It's so racist in the greatest way. Like the man calls people zipperheads and shit. Like the Asian dudes, you fucking zipperhead. He's like, he is the most racist hero on the planet Earth. And Clint Eastwood wrote the movie. It is so diabolically fucking beautiful.
I can barely remember that movie. Doesn't he like die on his lawn at the end? Does he die as a martyr at the end?
Yeah,
or something?
He dies a martyr.
So, and is it because he's come around? Like, is he?
He's come around. He
has a redemption. Okay.
They're like friggin'. I don't know if they're Vietnamese or Cambodian or Laos. They're one of those type of Asians, and friggin', he's just fucking a tirade. Like he's tired of them. He's a guy that won't move out of the neighborhood even though it got bad, and he has no connection with his kids.
Right.
And they fucking just the kid steals his car in order to get into the gang as initiation, but he's not a bad kid. So his family makes him work for him, and as he's working for him, he's teaching him how to be a man. And he brings them into like the barbershop that's Italian, and they just call each other, you fucking wop, you fucking they're just on some super racist shit the whole time. And even in his happiness for him, he's gets extra racist, but you don't really see it. You have to watch the movie a couple of times, like, yo, you know how racist he's it's crazy.
Maybe I'll have to go back and check that one out. I feel like I watched that when it came out.
That's the real cowboy. That's the best cowboy I've ever seen him play, is in Gran Torino. He's not a cowboy. So Eastwood was just put there for syllabic terms, like, Asun Eastwood, it feels more like a name.
That makes me feel like, you're probably the guy carrying the cannon or whatever.
Right,
too.
Right. I might be.
Mr. Eastwood normally had that thing
exactly, on. So, Exactly. It's cowboy style. So that's what we do.
Dope. Where can people find you on social media, dude? I'll let you go after
everywhere.
this one.
I'm on TikTok. I don't do much on TikTok. It's there. Instagram and Twitter is your best chance to hit me up personally. And I answer the DMs. I'm out here like a real human being, and I work with people, and if your shit is dope, I'll work with you, and the fee, especially for my Canadians, they'll tell you, I play with the budgets properly. I'm not out here, regardless if you paid me $1,000 or $200, that won't help my goal necessarily. But my time is valuable. So if your shit is dope, I'll definitely work with you and we can create a relationship, and I might not charge you after that, but
that's the way it should be, man. Honestly, like it should be about the music first, rather than how much money
it costs to be in this game. I had to pay people that now I have relationships that I would never had to pay, but it wasn't. If I don't know you, I'm not gonna approach you like, yo, could you do this? Like, I'm gonna approach you, hey, what would it take for me to get this done? Right. And now it's on my terms. So so with that being said, I'm reasonable. I'll talk to you, and even if it's not business, we'll build. Like, I have great conversations in my DMs with all types of people that are, just
here we are. It's happening now, man. So mad respect for coming through to do this.
They're end up being good people, and we end up having relationships that are dope too. So
hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate you coming by to spend your time doing this, man.
Thank you, man. Dubious, man. Love what you're doing. This is a dope platform. Love your style. I'm get into your music too. I want to see what's popping.
Hell yeah, man. I'll send you a link.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, dude. It's been fun.
Much love.
Peace.
Palma.
All right, everybody. So that was Asun Eastwood. You should definitely find him. Go listen to some of his music. AsunEastwood.com is where you can buy it all. I was looking at that. He's got a lot of different vinyl that you can pick from. But I'm also a guy who always encourages people, even if you like somebody's music and you want to spend $5, go buy some singles, buy digital singles. It still helps. It's still encouraging. It still helps, buy more studio time and buy more beats and buy more features with other dope artists and all that good stuff. So make sure you're doing that. As well, if you enjoy, listening to independent hip-hop artists from across the country, tap in after the smoke is clear. I do what I can to put as much new music in as many new ears as possible. Every week, it's me and DJ Dice. We're, putting together different mixes. Sometimes it's boom bap, sometimes it's real trap heavy. But, it's always new release, and I try to do my best to just keep up with all the releases across the entire map, so you'll hear Vancouver and Halifax in the same hour and everywhere in between as well. Here on Twitch, if you're not, you should hit follow. I'm talking to a lot of different artists coming up. It's been a few weeks already for season 3. So far, I've talked to 3 different artists. I talked to John Creasy and Uncle Fester the first week. I talked to Thug Shells. The Creasy and Fester interview is already up online. The Thug Shells one should be up maybe tonight if I'm ambitious, maybe tomorrow. I'll get this one up online over to YouTube real quick, and then keep coming back on Twitch, because next week I'm talking to K-Riz, who is an artist that I actually know from Edmonton when we both lived there. He now lives in Calgary, but he's super dope, and he's been putting out good music lately. So that's January 23rd, talking to K-Riz right here on Twitch TV/Dubious. January 30th, I talked to Freelance Flint. February 6th, I'm talking to Lee Reed. So Freelance Flint is based on the West Coast in Vancouver. Lee Reed is based out on the East Coast in Halifax, I believe. Both very dope artists who I'm looking forward to talking to. And then we're bringing things back to Alberta. I'm talking to CX to the World February 13th. Talking to Emprime, used to go by Max Prime, on February 20th. Those guys are both based in Edmonton. And then February 27th, I'm wrapping up the first kind of chunk of season 3, talking to Jimmy Burnett. He's also Edmonton based, but that interview is going to take place. He's going to be on his work camp while he's talking to me, because he's a guy who works out on the pipelines, true Berta style. So respect. Thanks for checking, everybody. It's been fun. I really enjoyed talking to Asun. That guy can tell a story. I didn't have to do much, just sit back and listen. But definitely make sure you check out his music, and tap in after the smoke is clear. Mixcloud.com/Dubious, or of course Dubious.com is the hub for everything I do. Peace.